From space, the American West tells a story in circles. Vast green patterns stamped across the dry landscape, each one a perfect geometric declaration of human control over an unforgiving environment. This is the agricultural fingerprint of a nation, a pattern so large it can only be seen from orbit. Yet the machine responsible for this transformation remains largely unknown, hidden in plain sight. The high plains were the final frontier for American agriculture, a vast, arid expanse that defied traditional farming. And the question that hung over this unconquerable land was simple. How could a simple invention unlock an entire region? To understand the revolution, you first have to understand the problem. The Great Plains presented a geographic challenge unlike any other. This was a sea of grass, vast and dry, where rainfall was not just scarce, but wildly unpredictable. A farmer could experience drought one year and flood the next. The land itself seemed to resist cultivation. The period following the Dust Bowl was marked by palpable desperation. Farmers understood the soil's fertility, but without reliable water access, that fertility remained an unfulfilled promise. The traditional methods of irrigation were completely inadequate for this scale. Flood irrigation, which worked in narrower river valleys, wasted enormous amounts of water through evaporation and runoff on these open plains. The alternative was even more grueling: hand-moved sprinkler systems. This was back-breaking seasonal labor that demanded crews of workers to constantly drag heavy pipes across fields. It was inefficient, expensive, and simply not feasible for the vast acreage of the plains. The economic barrier was just as formidable. The early stationary irrigation systems that did exist were massive capital investments. They were the domain of large corporate farms or agricultural conglomerates. For the family farm, the dream of turning the arid prairie into productive cropland was just that, a dream. The engineering problem was clear, yet seemed insurmountable. Create a system that was mobile, highly efficient with water, and most importantly, affordable for the average farmer. It needed to be a tool for the many. While the agricultural establishment saw only impossibility, one man in Nebraska looked at the same challenge and saw a beautifully simple mechanical solution. That man was Frank Zybach. He was a practical farmer inventor, a tinkerer who understood the problems of the land because he lived them. His genius was in elegant applied mechanics. He looked at the issue of mobile irrigation and asked a fundamental question: why not use the water itself to power the machine? The core insight was breathtakingly simple. Zybach conceived of a system where the water pressure flowing through the main pipeline could be harnessed to drive the wheels that moved the entire structure. It was a self-propelled machine fueled by its own purpose. The concept was the center pivot, a long irrigation arm anchored at one end, rotating around a central point, sweeping a perfect circle across the landscape. One motor could move a massive quarter-mile-long arm, ensuring every inch of soil received precisely the same amount of water. The beauty of Zybach's design was its elegant reliability. By harnessing water pressure to drive hydraulic motors in each tower, the system created an inherently balanced mechanism. If one tower lagged behind, the pressure would naturally increase to help it catch up, a self-correcting feature perfectly suited for the harsh conditions of farm life. This was automation. A farmer could set the system in motion, and it would work tirelessly day and night without constant human intervention. The prototype phase was a lesson in perseverance. Zybach built his first models from scrap metal and sheer determination. The established farm equipment manufacturers of the era were deeply skeptical. The idea seemed too radical, too unlike anything that had come before. But Zybach believed in his invention. He navigated the complex patent process, and when large companies showed little interest, he took the bold step of co-founding his own company, eventually licensing his patent to Valley Manufacturing in 1954. It was a huge risk, betting everything on an unproven machine that challenged conventional wisdom. This farmer's solution, born from necessity and ingenuity, was about to transform the American landscape on a scale that was almost unimaginable. The green circles were coming. What happened next was a green explosion. Frank Zybach's invention spread across the Great Plains with a speed that stunned everyone, even its creators. Within 2 decades, the center pivot transformed from a niche solution on a few Nebraska farms into the regional standard for irrigation. The visual impact was staggering. From the ground, it was a slow-moving metal giant. But from the air, the story was told in geometry, a rapidly multiplying grid of perfect green circles etching themselves into the brown landscape of Nebraska, Kansas, and Colorado. This was a new kind of agriculture, one defined by precision and scale. The cultural shift was just as profound. The center pivot fundamentally changed the nature of farm labor. It automated the most demanding seasonal task. No longer did a farmer need to organize crews to move pipes or worry about uneven watering. The center pivot brought unprecedented stability to the region's agricultural economy. By eliminating water as the primary variable, it stabilized crop yields and farm incomes alike. For the first time, a family farm could reliably plan for a successful harvest. This machine turned unpredictable dryland farming into a managed, industrial-scale operation. The manufacturing boom followed the agricultural revolution. Valley manufacturing grew at an explosive rate to meet the surging demand. But they weren't alone for long. The success of the center pivot concept was so obvious that competitors quickly emerged. Companies like TL Irrigation and Renka entered the market, each adding their own engineering refinements. This competition wasn't a threat, it was a catalyst. It drove innovation forward at a breakneck pace, improving the technology for every farmer. The machines themselves evolved rapidly. The early models were simple workhorses, but soon engineers added span-by-span controls, allowing farmers to adjust water application for different soil types within a single field. Then came variable rate irrigation, using GPS and data maps to apply water only where it was needed, conserving a precious resource. Low-pressure drop nozzles were developed, increasing efficiency even further. The basic principle remained, but the system became smarter, more responsive, and more economical with every passing year. The machine became so successful that it began to define the very look of modern agriculture. That iconic circle became the universal symbol of high-tech farming. The center pivot became a symbol. It stands as a 20th century icon of American agricultural efficiency and sheer scale. It represents a belief that through ingenuity and technology, we could overcome natural limitations. This machine played a crucial role in securing America's position as a global food producer. The abundance it helped create on the Great Plains fed a nation and exported American agricultural prowess worldwide. Its adaptability was key to its iconic status. While we picture it watering corn in Nebraska, the same basic machine was adapted for potatoes in Washington, cotton in Texas, and even specialty crops in deserts around the world. The principle was universal. The center pivot earned its place in the iconography of the modern American West, standing alongside the railroad and the cowboy as a defining symbol. It represents a different kind of frontier spirit, not conquest through force, but transformation through innovation. It became a persistent force that fundamentally reshaped the land. The center pivot became one of the nation's most significant agricultural exports, a testament to its fundamental soundness. From the plains of Africa to the outback of Australia, the green circles began to appear, a global language of efficient water use. And through it all, the enduring design is what's most remarkable. The basic principle Frank Zybach patented, a self-propelled pipe rotating around a central pivot, remains virtually unchanged decades later. The materials are better, the controls are computerized, but the elegant circular concept is as effective today as it was on that first prototype. This invention's legacy isn't just in the machines still operating in fields today, it's written across the land itself. Those patterns, visible from space, are a permanent record of a technological revolution. The center pivot stands as a true testament to practical ingenuity. It democratized irrigation, turning a corporate luxury into a tool for the family farm. While its success created the complex challenge of managing the Ogallala Aquifer, its primary legacy is one of abundance. For generations, this machine has been the quiet engine feeding the nation and anchoring rural communities. That a simple farmer's idea could become such an enduring feature of the American landscape speaks to the power of solving real-world problems with elegant engineering. If you have stories about your experiences with any sort of irrigation, share them below. And thank you for joining us on this journey through agricultural history.